My roommate's girlfriend tried framing me for stealing and trashing the house so she could get me evicted. So I broke them up. 7 years ago, I moved into a 4-bedroom house with 3 friends. About 5 months into the living situation, Jay met Karen and started dating her. All was fine when she thought I was only the girlfriend of another roommate. Because we were playing in the dining room right by my room, Karen saw me go into that room to grab a sweater early in the night. Then she saw my roommate, the one she assumed I was dating, go upstairs to grab his phone charger. She was floored when my roommates confirmed I lived there. I had my own room, and I wasn't dating any of them. She saved face and said she was just surprised I'd want to live with 3 men, and we moved on. Cam, the owner's son, and I were the only ones who realized Karen saw this as a problem. After that, she started coming over right after I got off work and only left when Jay went to work. If I came out of my room to the living room, she'd ask why I was out there. If I were going to the kitchen, she would remark that I was being disrespectful to her and Jay and interrupting their time together. If I were talking to Jay when she got there, she'd practically grind on him and shove her tongue down his throat. Jay had made it clear that he knew she was being a problem and had started pushing for them to just chill in his room. Unfortunately, she used the opportunity to make some of the worst corn imitation noises any of us other roommates had ever heard. We laughed it off and just left those two alone. After a couple of weeks, she had gotten drunk before Jay went to work, and we insisted she stay in his room and sleep it off. I brought her food and Tylenol because the girl was going to feel like hell in the morning. The next morning, Jay came home and started making breakfast for me and him when Karen came down and just started screaming. She accused Jay of cheating, accused me of having relations with all the guys, and then made the dumbest statement possible. She demanded I pay Jay back for the food he was wasting on me. Cam and I had a come to Jesus talk with Jay. We both told him that if she couldn't deal with me living there, then she could no longer come over. Jay asked for a week to figure things out, trying to claim she was just caught by surprise when she saw him making me breakfast and not thinking clearly. We gave him a week. In that week, mysteriously, the grocery jar was getting raided. We noticed my clean dishes were appearing, still clean, in the sink. Little things were disappearing from common rooms and weirdly appearing in my room. After a week, Cam gets a call from his mom asking if I had been going through something lately. Apparently, a concerned party had sent her picture after picture and story upon story about how I was trashing the house and stealing. Karen expected this to get me in trouble. Lucky for me, my landlord was actually worried I was not doing okay and wanted Cam to help me get through it. Cam told me and I started planning my petty revenge. I started hanging with Cam in the living room every day. She complained, but Jay told her it's our house and we can do as we please. When she would go to the kitchen, one of them always asked what she was doing in our fridge. She stopped going in our fridge after 2 days. The weekend was here, and we knew Jay had an extra overnight shift, and Karen was planning to stay in his room so they could hang out the next day. Cue my biggest petty move ever. That Friday, we hung out in his room, right next to Karen's. We made a bit of a show when Jay left and acted like he could not know that Cam and I were hanging out alone in his room. This caught Karen's attention. We started shaking the bed. Within minutes, we got a text from Jay asking what we were doing. Cam replied, playing video games. After 10 minutes, we stopped the bed shaking and actually did play video games, on mute. When Jay demanded a FaceTime session, he saw exactly what he needed to see, me beating Cam in Mario Party. We cycled through this for a few hours. After a while, we decided to put the finishing touches on it. We made a big deal about me needing to go to my room before Jay got home, and Karen took the bait. We could see the little bit of light being cut off in the slightly open door by her watching. Cam and I stage kissed, and I headed to the living room. Jay came in 10 minutes later to find me watching a movie and asked what was up. I told him I'd been up playing video games all night with Cam. He tells me Karen claimed we were doing the nasty, and I told him we didn't. The next day, Jay calls a house meeting without Karen. He tells us she's making claims of us having a relationship and are hiding it from him. We say she's full of it. We tell him about the frame job she tried to pull, how she went to Cam's mom to get me in trouble. Jay asked our other roommate if he had heard anything from the bedroom. Bro doesn't even flinch and says, I heard me calling Cam her beach and the usual Mario Party poop talk. They weren't banging. Jay asked about the grocery jar. We all told him we suspected Karen. The next day, he broke up with her for trying to turn him against us. He called her a liar and a thief. A few months later, he dated another girl. She was awesome and they're married now. I was a bridesmaid. But the absolute best part, Karen being one of the waitstaff and seeing Cam with his wife and me with my fiancé, telling them the story of how we once dry humped a mattress fully clothed to get back at a thief. Yes, Jay knows the whole story and he didn't mind at all.